INFJ personality types, like all the other types, are prone to a lot of criticism. The 16 types of people in this video who dislike INFJs are all different. Some might just dislike the traits that the INFJ type possesses, while others may dislike the way that they interact with others. Whatever the reason is, people who dislike INFJ personality types are everywhere. This video will look at some of the most common reasons people hate INFJs and how they can deal with them. First, narcissists. Narcissists are often dismissive of INFJs, believing that they are too passive and weak-willed. They see INFJs as easy targets who will never be able to achieve anything on their own, and so they can take advantage of them without consequence. INFJs often find themselves at a disadvantage with narcissists because they don't understand how they work, and so they're usually left feeling frustrated and helpless. Second, extroverted sensing, S types. INFJs are often thought of as being the most introverted type, but this is not always the case. S types, who are typically more extroverted than INFJs, can actually have a dislike for INFJs. This is because INFJs are often seen as being mysterious and withholding, which can be frustrating for S types. Third, introverted thinking, IT types. INFJ types are often seen as the most compassionate and caring of all personality types. This is because INFJs are highly introspective, and their primary focus is on understanding themselves and others. As a result, many people see INFJs as kind, gentle souls who dislike conflict. However, this is not always the case. In fact, INFJs can be quite confrontational when they feel that it is necessary. They may also be quite vocal about their opinions, which can sometimes lead to conflict. For IT types in particular, this type of behavior can be seen as threatening. IT types are typically shy and reserved by nature, so when an INFJ starts to open up and become more outspoken, it can be difficult for them to cope. This is because IT types rely on others to provide them with validation and acceptance. When an INFJ begins to challenge those things in a confrontational manner, it can be difficult for them to maintain relationships with those individuals. Fourth, feeling types. INFJs are often thought of as the lovable loner type, but it seems that not everyone feels this way. According to some people, INFJs can be quite frustrating and even hateful. They often find it difficult to communicate with other people and may even seem distant or cold. This could be because INFJs are often preoccupied with their own thoughts and feelings, which can make them difficult to understand. Fifth, judges. Judges, according to some research, may .s because they perceive the INFJ as being aloof and distant. This could be due to the fact that INFJs are often in tune with their inner thoughts and feelings, which can make them difficult to read. In addition, because INFJs are often focused on understanding others and taking into account their perspectives, they may be seen as critical by those who need constant approval and affirmation. 6. Perceivers. There is no one-size-fits-all answer to this question, as people have different tolerances and preferences for different types of people. However, according to research by the website Wallet Hub, INFJs are among the groups of people that other people tend to dislike the most. One reason for this may be that INFJs are often seen as mysterious and difficult to understand. They can be very introspective and take a lot of time analyzing their own thoughts and feelings, which can make them seem distant or unapproachable. Additionally, INFJs are sometimes seen as overbearing or even bossy, which can lead others to dislike their leadership style. All in all, it seems clear that perceivers generally find INFJs to be less than desirable partners. If you're an INFJ and you're feeling frustrated by this fact, it might be helpful to remember that not everyone shares your unique set of characteristics and preferences. 7th, pragmatists. There is some speculation that INFJs may have a harder time adjusting to pragmatism than other personality types. This is based on the fact that INFJs are often considered to be very intuitive and introspective, which can lead them to be less accepting of change or new ideas. While pragmatism can be a valuable tool in achieving success, it may not always be compatible with the type of thinking that is characteristic of INFJs. 8th, sensing types. INFJs are often seen as the sensing type, and as a result, some people may dislike them. INFJs are usually very empathetic and can be quite sensitive to the feelings of others. This can make them easy targets for hurt feelings and resentment, which can lead to INFJ hating. 9th, judging types. INFJs are often seen as the nicest type, and for good reason. They tend to be compassionate and understanding, and are often able to see the best in people. This makes them popular among those who need support, but it can also make INFJs a target for judgment. People who .s may view them as overly sensitive and unable to take criticism well. They may also find INFJs frustratingly indecisive, because they don't always know what they want or how to go about getting it. In fact, many people who .s actually have a lot in common with them. 10th, perceiving types. INFJs are often seen as the lovable loner type. They are usually highly intelligent and have a lot of compassion for others. However, some people may perceive INFJs as being difficult to get along with because they can be quite introspective and analytical. Additionally, INFJs may not always be vocal about their feelings, which could lead others to think they don't care about them. 11th, artists. There is a common misconception amongst the general population that artists are somehow more creative than the rest of society. While there is some truth to this, it is not entirely accurate. In fact, one of the most creative and unique personality types in society is INFJ. INFJs are often seen as gentle souls who are simply drawn to creativity and expression. Unfortunately, this type of personality can be difficult to tolerate in many situations. For example, INFJs are often drawn to solitude and spending time alone in order to create art or write poetry. This can be difficult for people who want their conversation partners at all times or who need constant stimulation in their lives. Additionally, INFJs often have a very deep inner world which they are reluctant to share with others. This can make them difficult companions for those who want constant interaction and feedback from their friends or loved ones. As a result, many artists' personalities because they find them difficult to relate to and understand. 12th, scientists. INFJs are often among the most highly respected and well-loved personality types in the scientific community. This is likely due to INFJ's natural ability to empathize with others, as well as their passion for understanding and exploring the world around them. However, there is a faction of scientists who seem to despise INFJs, or at least find them difficult to work with. This antipathy may have something to do with INFJ's unique combination of qualities. While they are typically excellent listeners and communicators, INFJs also have a deep inner sense of intuition and wisdom. This makes them highly capable of understanding complex concepts and theories, but can also make them difficult to manage or control, something that may not sit well with some scientists who prefer more direct methods of communication. INFJs are often incredible researchers, so it would be a shame if their unique abilities were not taken advantage of in the scientific community. If researchers could learn to work better alongside INFJs, they would undoubtedly achieve even greater things in their fields. 13th, entrepreneurs. There is a stereotype that entrepreneurs are always creative and innovative, but do you know why they might be disliked by INFJs? For one, INFJs are often perfectionists, and they tend to have high standards for themselves. They also have a lot of energy and can be quite demanding. This can lead other people to think that entrepreneurs are difficult to work with. 14th, theists. INFJs are often seen as the soul of the Myers-Briggs type indicator. This makes them vulnerable to discrimination from those who do not believe in the MBTI. Theists, in particular, have a strong dislike for INFJs because of their belief that there is no such thing as an inner spirit. They see INFJs as belonging to a misguided sect of people who believe in nothing more than their own intuition and feelings. 15th, paranoids. There seems to be something about the INFJ personality type that sets them apart from the rest of the population. This might be why paranoid individuals seem to .s so much. INFJs are often seen as intuitive and perceptive, which can make them targets for those who feel threatened by their abilities. INFJs often have a strong interest in people and their motivations, which can lead them into conflict with those who see people as objects to be manipulated or controlled. This type of sensitivity can also make INFJs vulnerable to discrimination and harassment, especially if they don't have support systems in place. 16th, agnostics. There is some speculation that INFJs are disliked by agnostics, as INFJs often focus on the internal and abstract aspects of things, while agnostics tend to focus on the external and concrete. However, there is no evidence to support this claim. In fact, most people seem to enjoy interactions with INFJs.